Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 6, Section 1 of A Tale of Two Cities, Book the First Recalled to Life.
As.
Ah.
A Tale of Two Cities, Book the First Recalled to Life. Charles Dickens. Chapter 6, Section 1. Good day, said Monsieur Defarge, looking down at the white head that bent low over the shoemaking. It was raised for a moment, and a very faint voice responded to the salutation, as if it were at a distance. You are still hard at work. After a long silence, the head was lifted for another moment, and the voice replied, Yes, I am working. This time. A pair of haggard eyes had looked at the questioner, before the face had dropped again. The faintness of the voice was pitiable and dreadful. It was not the faintness of physical weakness, though confinement and hard fare no doubt had their part in it. Its deplorable peculiarity was that it was the faintness of solitude and disease. It was like the last feeble echo of a sound made long and long ago. So entirely had it lost the life and resonance of the human voice. Weak stain. So sunken and suppressed it was, that it was like a voice underground. So expressive it was, of a hopeless and lost creature, that a famished traveller, wearied up by lonely wandering in a wilderness, would have remembered home and friends in such a tone before lying down to die. Some minutes of silent work had passed, and the haggard eyes had looked up again, not with any interest or curiosity, but with a dull mechanical perception, beforehand, that the spot where the only visitor they were aware of had stood was not yet empty. I want, said Defarge, who had not removed his gaze from the shoemaker, to let in a little more light here. The shoemaker stopped his work, looked with a vacant air of listening, at the floor on one side of him, then similarly, at the floor on the other side of him, then upward at the speaker. I must bear it. The open half door was opened a little further, and secured at that angle for the time. A broad ray of light fell into the garret, and showed the workman with an unfinished shoe upon his lap, pausing in his labour. His bench. He had a white beard, arbitrarily cut, but not very long, a hollow face, and exceedingly bright eyes. The hollowness and thinness of his face would have caused them to look large. Under his yet darker brows and his confused white hair, though they had been really otherwise, but they were naturally large, and looked unnaturally so. His yellow rags of shirt lay open at the throat, and showed his body to be withered and worn. And his old canvas frock, and his loose stockings, and all his poor tatters of clothes, in a long seclusion from direct light and air, faded down to such a dull uniformity of parchment yellow, that it would have been hard to say which was which. He had put up a hand between his eyes and the light, and the very bones of it seemed transparent. So he sat, with a steadfastly vacant gaze, pausing in his work. He never looked at the figure before him, without first looking down on this side of himself, then on that, as if he had lost the habit of associating place with sound. He never spoke, without first wandering in this manner, and forgetting to speak. "Are you going to finish that pair of shoes today?" asked Defarge, motioning to Mr. Roy to come forward. "I can say that I mean to." "I suppose so. But..." The question reminded him of his work, and he bent over it again. "Mr. Rory came silently forward, leaving the daughter by the door. When he had stood, for a minute or two, by the side of Defarge, the shoemaker looked up. He showed no surprise at seeing another figure. Looked at it, his lips and his nails were of the same pale-lead colour. And then the hand dropped to his work, and he once more bent over the shoe. The look and action had occupied but an instant. "You have a visitor, you see," said Monsieur Defarge. The shoemaker looked up as before, but without removing a hand from his work. "Come," said Defarge. "Here is Monsieur, who knows a well-made shoe when he sees one. Show him that shoe you are working at. Take it." Mr. Rory took it in his hand. "Tell Monsieur what kind of shoe it is." There was a longer pause than usual, before the shoemaker replied, "I forget what it was you asked me." I said, "Couldn't you describe the kind of shoe?" "It is a lady's shoe. It is a young lady's walking shoe. It is in the present mode." I never saw the mode. The little passing touch of pride. "And the maker's name?" said Defarge, now that he had no work to hold. He laid the knuckles of the right hand in the hollow of the left, and then the knuckles of the left hand in the hollow of the right, and then passed a hand across his bearded chin, and so on in regular changes, without a moment's intermission. Had spoken. Was like recalling some very weak person from a swoon, or endeavouring, in the hope of some disclosure, to stay the spread of a fast-dying man. 105. 105. With a weary sound that was not a sigh, nor a groan. He bent to work again, until the silence was again broken. "You are not a shoemaker by trade?" said Mr. Rory, looking steadfastly at him. What, as no help came from that quarter? They turned back on the questioner when they had sought the ground. "I am not a shoemaker by trade?" To be continued.